What up, everybody? Welcome to Trailer Park, the movie review show that focuses on the trailers of the movies. I am your host, Richard Barlow, and today we have some very interesting stuff to talk about. We're going to be looking at the trailer for Scoob, some interesting casting news coming out of Hollywood, and some weird news from Johnny Depp. And, of course, I'm going to be reviewing Frozen 2. There's no way I could let that one slide by without getting a review. It's way too big. So let's just get right to it, and let's take a look at the trailer for Scoob.
Oh, it's about to start. You ready?
Ready.
Popcorn?
Butter.
Nachos?
Cheese.
Root beer with red licorice straw?
Right here. Maybe it's time we made our new movie.
Good idea, Scoob. But first we need a trailer.
So Scoob is a new animated Scooby Doo movie, and I have really mixed feelings about this. It does look funny. It looks cute. The animation, I think, is really cool. But there are a lot of things kind of putting me off that we're seeing in this trailer. So the first thing is how much Scooby-Doo is talking in this. Normally, like, obviously Scooby-Doo talks, but not this much. Normally he says, just a word here or there, kind of strings together what might be a sentence, but, like, doesn't really talk in full sentences. In this trailer, he is full out talking. He does the intro to the trailer, and just throughout the whole trailer, he's talking a lot. And so, obviously, this is a new reimagination of Scooby-Doo, and this version talks a lot. And I just don't know how I feel about that. It's just not, it doesn't seem like Scooby-Doo to me. The voice is good. Like, the voice is the original voice actor, so, like, that hasn't changed. So that's still good. But it just feels weird to have him talk that much. It's probably not really a problem. It's probably just me hanging on to the Scooby-Doo that I know, and this is a reimagination, so they're going to change it up a bit. So it's really just kind of a personal problem. I don't think necessarily it'll be a problem with the movie. It's just a personal problem that I have with this because Scooby-Doo just doesn't talk that much to me.
Oh, can you do the trailer guy voice?
Well, let me give it a shot. In a world destroyed by evil, discover the epic origin story of the greatest team of heroes in the history of mystery. Not bad.
Nailed it!
Another thing just to do with his voice, when it shows Scooby first meeting Shaggy, which is adorable, by the way, but, like, puppy Scooby, his voice is, like, the same, and that just kind of threw me off. And, like, his voice has never changed. It's just always been that. So that was kind of weird to me. Not a huge problem, just kind of threw me off a little bit.
This mangy stray's coming with me.
He's not a stray.
Okay, then. What's his name?
His name's Scooby.
Middle name?
Doobie?
Last name?
Do.
Another issue I have with this is the trailer is showing us both, like, them as kids when everyone's first meeting and them as adults. And the trailer is kind of split down the middle, which makes me think maybe the movie will be split down the middle. Like, we're seeing a lot of things with them as kids when they're first meeting and they go to, like, a haunted house on Halloween. So that's going to me, it seems like that's going to be a full story. And then they also have the adult one where it looks like Scooby and Shaggy are abducted or something like that. And so that's something big enough that that's going to be a full story. So it's not showing what this movie's going to be unless it is split down the middle, like half them as kids, half them as adults. And that I'm not into. I don't want half and half. I want one story. We can have flashbacks, or we can have just, like, a few clips of them being older and then flashing back to the main adventure when they were kids. But whatever it is, I want more of one than the other. And this trailer is kind of presenting that it's going to be kind of equal parts kids and grown-up. And that just seems like an unfocused movie to me. We could have had one, and then, like, if you have two full stories to tell, we could have had the kids and then the sequel when they're grown up, or we could have had them grown up and then done kind of like a prequel later. I mean, it is good a lot of times movies, split their movies in two when they don't need to do that. But this one almost feels like two stories in one, and it doesn't work for me because it's just unfocused and we don't really get to hone in on one story. if we're splitting it.
Could always be without you. I feel lost at sea.
I love it.
Through the darkness,
I'll never take it off.
like the wind we be riding through.
Aw.
Maybe don't do that again.
The other issue I have, which is again just more of a personal issue and it doesn't feel right for what Scooby-Doo is when they are adults and it looks like the main kind of mystery or the creature that they're going up against is aliens, and that I don't want that with Scooby-Doo. You know, I like Scooby-Doo is monsters and ghosts and stuff like that, and that's what I want. Of course, it's normally not any of those things. It's a man in a mask. But I don't want it to go into the sci-fi into the sci-fi genre with aliens and stuff like that. Like, I want supernatural. I want ghosts and creatures and monsters and stuff like that. So when they're showing, like, robots and them getting abducted into, like, what seems like a UFO, or, as Scooby calls it, IKEA, it doesn't feel right to me. And, again, I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem. It's more of a personal thing. If they do the story well and it's still, like, true to what Scooby and the Mystery Gang are, then it really won't be a problem. But it just kind of like Scooby's voice, it just threw me off in the trailer because it didn't feel right. And so to have Scooby's voice and this, two things that don't feel like Scooby-Doo, it does worry me about what this movie is. Yes, it's a reimagining. Yes, it's probably for a new audience to introduce Scooby-Doo to a new generation. But it does still have to stay kind of the same, you know, as Scooby-Doo, I don't think has a problem. I don't think there's something that needs to be changed. You know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And so, like, these things with the reimagining and the changing, personally, I don't feel like they need to be done. But again, it could just be me hanging on to that nostalgia and not wanting anything to change, because this could be a really good movie, and those things might not really play a factor in bringing the movie down at all.
Whoa. Shaggy and Scooby were taken?
Do you realize where we are?
No?
Look around, man. The clean, modern aesthetic, the cool blue color palette. We're in
IKEA.
the Falcon Fury. Did you say IKEA?
Nope, I said Falcon Fury, just like you.
Despite those problems, I do think this looks still pretty good. There are funny parts in the trailer. The animation looks really cool, and it has a great cast. It has Will Forte as Shaggy, Zac Efron as Fred. I think Velma is Amanda Seyfried, or maybe she's Daphne. Anyways, we have Amanda Seyfried in there as well. Kiersey Clemens, just a really great cast. So I do think, you know, with those names behind it and the humor that we're seeing in the trailer, I do think this is going to be a good movie. Just the worry is that it's going to stray too far from what Scooby-Doo traditionally is, which might not be a problem to a lot of people. Kind of a problem to me, but I can get over it. If it's a good movie, it's a good movie. So we're just going to have to wait and see.
Maybe this can lead us to Scooby and Shaggy. Trace amounts of mustache oil, 12-year-old scotch.
Ugh, is the bad guy my dad?
Don't go anywhere. When we come back, some very interesting news coming out of Hollywood. What time limit was given to filmmakers for trailers by the National Association of Theater Owners? Is it A, 2 minutes, B, 1.5 minutes, or C, 2.5 minutes? What time limit was given to filmmakers for trailers by the National Association of Theater Owners? Is it A, 2 minutes, B, 1.5 minutes, or C, 2.5 minutes? The answer is A, 2 minutes. The National Association of Theater Owners limited filmmakers to 2 minutes, allowing one exception each year for one film that the distributor feels deserves a little more time than just 2 minutes. This is because movie theaters will show upwards of 8 trailers before a film, so they wanted to try to keep it all within 20 minutes rather than having 45 minutes of trailers before a film. More casting news from the Batman, some information on Superman, and a weird new project for Johnny Depp. To take a closer look at these, we're going to have to go before the trailer. John Turturro has been cast as Carmine Falcone in Matt Reeves' The Batman. Now, I think this is a phenomenal casting choice. I really love John Turturro. I think he is a great actor. I think he'll do really well in this role. But I don't want to talk too much about that, because I can just go on about how I think he's going to do great. But I think what I would rather talk about is how, I mean, even on this show, it seems every other week I have new before the trailer casting news about the Batman, and they're kind of just telling us piece by piece who they're casting. And so they have a great cast. I've said this every time someone new has been cast, that I'm on board with it, and that I think they're going to do a great job, even if it's not who I would think, or they're kind of, you know, a little off for the casting choice. But they're all great actors, and I think it's going to do great. But I want the Batman to stop releasing this information now. You know, you told us about this phenomenal cast, so we're excited for it. Before seeing the trailer, there are enough people attached that it's suggested that this is going to be a really good movie and really well acted. So I don't want to know anymore. I want to be surprised when the trailer comes out if another actor pops up, or better yet, in the movie itself, if another great actor comes out as this famous character from the Batman franchise. I just, you know, for them to just now keep telling us, there's no more surprises now. And if you keep telling us everyone that's going to be in it, and they're all great actors, you're raising our expectations. And that's a dangerous thing for any movie. A great movie, if the expectation is too high, you know, if the bar is here, you can still hit here, but people are kind of let down. So by announcing all these actors, I think they're almost hindering themselves. I get why they're doing it. You know, Batman and DC especially, they haven't had many great movies lately. They kind of need to start winning people back. So I get them being like, look, we got this person, it's going to be great. I understand, but they've done that now. So any further casting, I would like them to just kind of keep it hidden and surprise us with something. I hope they do that, and that they haven't shown all their cards with all these casting choices that they're coming out with, because I really like surprises, and I like to be shocked in a movie. So I think this is enough. Don't tell us anymore. This is good. We're excited. So no more casting news from the Batman. On another side of DC, Michael B. Jordan met with Warner Brothers to pitch himself to play Superman. And they said it's not going to happen because of scheduling issues. Now, I'm going to call them on that one. Scheduling issues is never scheduling issues. It's always something else. And honestly, I don't see an actor going in and pitching themselves as a huge character ever really working. You have to be like major star status to make that work. And Michael B. Jordan, he's great. He's a star. I don't think he has that status. I just don't think that the pitch maybe went well. They might have been humoring him just so they can maybe get him in future movies as someone else. I don't think he'd be a bad Superman. I just don't think that he's what they were looking for. Because, like, to say scheduling issues after someone goes in and pitches themselves, unless he went in with a full script and a full crew ready to go, there can't be scheduling issues. Because there's no schedule yet. There's no movie being made. He was just pitching himself as the character. So either Warner Brothers already has a Superman movie in the works, which nobody knows anything about, so they do have a schedule, and his scheduling didn't line up with that. But since nobody knows anything about that, I don't think that's happening. I don't think Superman is in the works for a while. I think they're going to focus on some of their other things. They just lost Henry Cavill. Maybe that's not even like 100% he'll never come back. So I don't think that there's anything in the works for there to be a scheduling issue. So I think this is as normally scheduling issue is kind of hiding something else. I think it's really poorly done in this way that he went in to pitch them and then there's scheduling issues, because it also doesn't make sense for him if he's so gung-ho on wanting this part that he goes in and pitches himself. It's not going to be like, hey, I want to be Superman. Perfect, these are the dates. Yeah, no, that doesn't work for me. I don't think that's how that would have went. So I just think they're trying to save face by saying scheduling issues, but I don't think that pitch went well at all. Or maybe he pitched it well, but it was never going to happen. Now we're leaving Hollywood and we're going to New York for Broadway, which is something I don't normally cover, but this story is just too weird. Johnny Depp is producing a musical about Michael Jackson from the perspective of Michael Jackson's white sequin glove. Yeah, it's weird. The musical is called For the Love of a Glove, an unauthorized musical fable of the life of Michael Jackson. That's a mouthful, and it's just so bizarre. Personally, I don't see it working. I think it's just too weird. I mean, musicals can be weird, and as long as something's well done, it doesn't matter how weird it is. If the songs are good, if the writing is good, then it'll work. I personally don't see this working. But maybe my brain's just too small to wrap my head around this and see it as something that could really work. I think it could work maybe as like a cult classic, but cult classics on stage are hard because you have to sell those tickets. You have to have it to a mainstream audience enough to sell those tickets. You know, a movie, it can flop in theaters, but then have a home release, be really successful with home release, and that's how it kind of becomes a cult classic, is people start loving it after the fact. It's hard to do that on stage, so I don't know that this is going to work. Also, you have Johnny Depp, someone who's been in the news recently over the last few years as someone who's really controversial and people aren't too sure how they feel about him, doing a musical about one of the most controversial figures ever. I mean, it kind of works, but it's kind of risky. You know, you have someone that people aren't really in love with anymore making a musical about someone that people aren't really in love with anymore. Just because of the that Neverland documentary. I can't think of what it's called right now. But it revealed some things that really set people off of Michael Jackson. So these might just be two figures coming together that really just equal a low box office and just an unsuccessful run. We'll see as more things come out. I don't know much. All I know is that it's happening, and it's just really weird, and I don't see it going well. All right, stick around. After the break, I will be letting you know my thoughts on Frozen 2.
너 그치? 나 잘 어울려? 구라를 좀 치지 뭐.
And now, of course, let's talk about Frozen 2. The behemoth that is Frozen is back, and I have some thoughts on it.
Far away, as north as we can go, once stood an enchanted forest.
You've seen an enchanted forest?
Yes, it was a magical place, but something went wrong. Since then, no one can get in or out.
So Disney Animation came out with this sequel, and they don't do a lot of sequels. They have 58 movies and something like only like 9 sequels in those movies. So like when they do a sequel, you know it's because they feel that they really have a story to be told and that it really deserves a sequel. And that is evident in this movie. This does feel like a natural continuation of the story. It doesn't feel like a forced sequel because of what Frozen was. It was this huge, huge money maker for Disney. Not that Disney needs any more money makers, but it just what it was. I mean, you saw it; it was everywhere, and it still is. So, like I said, this really does feel natural. It doesn't feel forced. I'm sure it really helped things with how big Frozen was that they greenlit this sequel, no problem. But yeah, it really feels like a story that's worth being told, and at no part of it did it feel like this is just a sequel for the sake of a sequel.
What would I do without you? You'll always have me. Has Elsa seemed weird to you?
She seems like Elsa.
There's this voice. Voice? What does that mean? Head for the cliffs!
I'm gonna blow! I've got you!
The music in it I really liked, and I'm not sure if everyone's going to like it as much as I did. I'm sure people are going to like it, but what I found is it really felt, and the first Frozen kind of did this too, but I think this one really expands on it, or really kind of perfects it, is that these songs and the way they come out in the movie and the way that they're done really feel like a musical, like a Broadway musical. And that's how I like movie musicals to be, is that they really do feel like this could be on stage. Obviously, with all the big set pieces and the craziness of the magic and everything, it would be really hard to do it on stage. But the music and how it progresses does feel like a stage play that this is just a film of. So I really liked that. Of course, a lot of great talent singing, so all the songs were really well done. I do like, too, that they had Kristoff doing a few more songs. Actually, my favorite song in the movie is done by Kristoff, and I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying this. It's hilarious, and it's something I think for the parents and for the older people in the audience is when he's singing this song, Lost in the Woods. It's really kind of like a parody of like 80s power ballads, like the song itself, but then in the way that they shot it and the way that they animated it, it was all very like 80s music video style. So it was really fun, and I found it really funny. The kids wouldn't get it's still enjoyable for the kids, but they wouldn't get what's being said and what's being done. But that's something that's great about Disney Animation Studios and Pixar as well. This isn't Pixar, but it's that they really do understand how to make a kids movie that is enjoyable for the adults, and this is something that really showcases that. But anyway, like I was saying before, they give Kristoff a few more songs, which is really good. You know, they have someone like Jonathan Groff, who is this great Broadway star and this great singer, and he really wasn't utilized in the first one with his singing. So in this one, they really use him more, and it's really nice.
Find who is calling to you. They may have answers.
I'm going with you.
Anna? No.
Excuse me, I climbed the North Mountain, survived a frozen heart, and saved you from my ex-boyfriend, so, you know, I'm coming.
That's normal.
Another thing I really like about this one is how, you know, Olaf in the first one was this hit, and he was hilarious, and kids loved him, and adults loved him. He was just really funny, and Josh Gad does a great job performing as Olaf. So I was a little worried going into this that it would be a little Olaf heavy, knowing what a hit he was and how everyone loved him. I thought we would maybe get a little too much of him, and he'd become kind of annoying, or even if not necessarily annoying, you know, he is just that sidekick. He's that comedic relief that is in there. So I was worried that too much of him would take away from the story, and it's not something that we really need to see that much of. But they didn't do that. In the same way that this is a story that's worth being told, and it's not a forced sequel, they really didn't force anything, which I think is what really works about this movie. They didn't force Olaf on you, knowing what marketing great thing he is. Words are hard. You know, knowing that like they can sell tons of toys, he's just a marketer's dream. They didn't force too much of him. He had his one funny song, and that was it. He did have some really touching moments, which is also really important, I find, for the comedic relief, to have those moments so that you really just love them more.
Elsa, get out of there!
You can't just follow me into fire.
Then don't run into fire.
I don't really have too much more to say about this movie, honestly. Like, I could talk more about the story and what I liked and what I didn't necessarily like. Not that there was much I didn't like about the story, but that kind of would go into, like, spoiler territory. So I don't think I can say much more. I really like what they did with all the characters. Each character's story progressed and really had a good ending to it. It was just kind of perfect for all the characters. If you prefer one character over the other, you're going to be happy with how this ends. Everyone gets just the proper ending. Will we see a third one? I don't think so. They kind of joke about that at the end. Olaf kind of says, like, is this going to be a thing, like this world-ending adventure? And they say no. But I mean, obviously they think that this isn't going to happen all the time, and something could happen again. So I don't think we're going to get the third one. Like I said, Disney Animation Studios very rarely does sequels, so I doubt they'll do a trilogy. This is definitely a movie that I would check out in theaters. If you have kids, you probably have already seen it. If you haven't or you don't have kids, go check this out. It's just a really enjoyable movie for everybody, kids and adults alike. This is just a great movie to check out. So head to theaters and watch it.
Question. Is the whole putting us in mortal danger gonna be a regular thing?
And that is all the time we have for today. Thanks for coming by, everybody. Thanks for listening to what I have to say. I hope you enjoyed it. You can always let me know your thoughts or just, reach out and say hi. You can reach me via email at richard@trailerparkmoviereviews.com, or of course there's social media on Twitter at Trailer Barlow or Facebook and Instagram at Trailer Park Movie Reviews. But that's all for today. So until next time, see you in the theaters, everybody. Bye.